The laughter in the Galactic Council chamber cut deeper than any blade. Ambassador Chen stood motionless at the podium, her weathered hands gripping its edges as the crystalline sound of alien amusement echoed through the vast chamber. Above her, thousands of delegates from across the galaxy sat in ascending rings, their varied anatomies all conveying the same emotion, pure, undisguised ridicule. You maintain weapons? The council speaker's translator struggled to even form the word, as if the concept itself was foreign to its databanks. The towering figure's iridescent membranes rippled with what Chen had learned to recognize as barely contained mirth. Your species devotes resources to preparing for war? In an age of galactic peace? Chen took a deep breath, fighting back the urge to remind them that this age of peace was barely 2 centuries old, a blink of an eye in cosmic terms. Humanity has learned through bitter experience that you are paranoid, called out a voice from the upper tiers, triggering another wave of laughter. The delegates' tentacles waved in what Chen knew was their species' equivalent of head shaking. Next you'll tell us you still practice emergency drills. The ambassador's silence was answer enough. The chamber erupted again. Please understand, Chen persisted, her voice steady despite the mockery, Earth's history has taught us that peace is precious precisely because it is fragile. Our military exists not because we want war, but because we understand its cost better than most. The council speaker's outer membrane shifted to a patronizing shade of blue. Ambassador, your species is young. You'll learn, as we all did, that evolution beyond warfare is the mark of true civilization. Your quaint military traditions are a reminder of humanity's primitive roots. Nothing more. Chen opened her mouth to respond, but the chamber's emergency lights flashed to life, bathing the council rings in crimson. A junior aide rushed to the speaker's platform, their crystalline form vibrating with urgency. The chamber fell silent as the speaker processed the information. For the first time in recorded council history, the being's membranes lost all color. We've detected a signal, the speaker announced, their translator struggling to maintain composure. An ancient warning beacon, dormant for millennia, has activated at the edge of known space. Its message. The speaker's next words froze the blood of every being present. They have returned. Chen felt the weight of thousands of eyes turn to her. In that moment, not a single delegate was laughing at humanity's military preparedness. The real test was about to begin. In the 3 days since the beacon's activation, the Galactic Council had transformed from a chamber of mockery to a well of anxiety. Ambassador Chen watched as species that had prided themselves on evolving beyond conflict now struggled with its looming possibility. The great chamber, once filled with laughter, now hummed with whispered fears and nervous movements. The beacon's message played again on the chamber's holographic display, its ancient light script burning in the air. They have returned. The devourers wake. The long sleep ends. Each word carried the weight of civilizations long dead, their final warning preserved across millennia. Surely, a delegate from the harmonious confluence wavered, their crystalline form clouded with doubt. Surely this is merely an automated response to some natural phenomenon? A stellar event, perhaps, or a gravitational anomaly? Chen thought of the history lessons she'd learned as a child. Of ancient civilizations on Earth that had dismissed warnings of floods, of invasions, of collapse. Of how many times humanity had learned, and relearned, the cost of unpreparedness. The beacon's energy signature matches no known natural phenomenon, announced the Council's chief scientist, their tentacles twisted in uncharacteristic agitation. Its quantum patterns suggest an artificial origin, consistent with the technological remnants we've discovered from the first galactic era. The era that ended in war, Chen added quietly. The chamber fell silent at her words. The council speaker's membranes had remained colorless since the beacon's activation. We have no protocols for this. No procedures. No, they paused, their translator struggling with concepts long abandoned, no defenses. Earth does. Chen's words cut through the anxiety like a blade. The United Earth Defense Force maintains a fleet of fully armed vessels. We have trained personnel, tactical AIs, and battle strategies refined through centuries of simulation and historical analysis. You would have us trust in weapons? A delegate from the upper rings called down, but this time there was no mockery in their tone, only desperate hope masked as disdain. Before Chen could respond, the chamber's emergency lights flashed again. The chief scientist's helper rushed forward, their crystalline form practically vibrating with urgency. Multiple signals detected, they announced, their voice harmonics sharp with fear. The beacon's activation was followed by energy surges in 17 different systems along the galactic rim. Something is moving out there. Something big. The council speaker turned to Chen, their membranes finally showing color, a deep, desperate purple. Your species, your military traditions, how quickly could Earth's forces mobilize? Chen allowed herself a small, grim smile. They already have. The moment the beacon activated, Earth's fleet began deploying to defensive positions. Our ships are running battle drills as we speak. The chamber erupted in a chaos of voices. Some called it presumptuous, others called it providence. But as the holographic displays showed more anomalies appearing along the galactic rim, Chen noticed something extraordinary. The delegates from the upper rings were leaning forward, watching Earth's military vessels move with growing interest. The council speaker raised all four arms for silence. Ambassador Chen, humanities, preparation, may have been more prescient than we realized. Would your military leaders be willing to advise the council on defensive measures? Of course, Chen replied, thinking of the briefing packet already prepared in her quantum cache. Earth had anticipated this moment too. But first, I suggest we discuss the concept of defensive perimeters. You see, in military strategy, depth of defense is crucial. As she began her explanation, a new alert flashed across the chamber's displays. At the edge of known space, 3 peaceful research outposts had just gone silent. The warning was no longer theoretical. The test of humanity's preparedness had begun. The holographic display in the Council's emergency response chamber cast an eerie glow over the assembled delegates. It showed the Harmony Science Station's final transmission, a massive shape emerging from the void, its surface rippling with patterns that defied natural geometry. Then, static. Fleet Commander Reeves of the United Earth Defense Force stood beside Ambassador Chen, her weathered face illuminated by the playback. Unlike the panicking aliens around them, both humans maintained a composed demeanor that came from generations of military preparedness. The station's quantum signature is completely gone, reported the chief scientist, their tentacles writhing in distress. Not damaged. Not disrupted. Gone. As if it never existed. Along with all 3,000 researchers aboard, added a delegate from the Harmonious Confluence, their crystalline form clouded with grief. Commander Reeves stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of authority that came from decades of command. Ambassador Chen has granted me speaking privileges. If the Council permits, I'd like to share our tactical analysis. The Council speaker's membranes shifted to a pale blue of desperate acceptance. Please proceed, Commander. Reeves activated her neural interface, and the holographic display transformed. The mysterious attacker's image was now overlaid with detailed scanning data from Earth's nearest patrol ship. The entity's structure bears striking similarities to archaeological records from the First Galactic Era, Reeves explained. Specifically, to fragmentary descriptions of the Devourers, the force that ended that golden age. They appear to be biomechanical constructs that consume matter and energy to grow and replicate. A ripple of fear passed through the chamber. The chief scientist's helper suddenly straightened, their crystal facets bright with realization. The research stations, they weren't just destroyed. They were eaten. Correct, Reeves confirmed. But this gives us an advantage. The Devourer's feeding process takes time. Time we can use. She expanded the tactical display, showing the position of Earth's fleet. Green dots marked human military vessels, already moving to intercept. We've established a defensive perimeter around the next likely targets. Our ships are armed with prototype quantum disruption weapons, designed to target exactly the kind of impossible geometries these entities display. You created weapons specifically for this scenario? The Council speaker's translator couldn't quite mask their shock. We created weapons for many scenarios, Chen interjected smoothly. Humanity has learned to hope for the best while preparing for the worst. The chamber's emergency lights flashed again. This time, however, they were accompanied by something new, a deep, resonant tone that made every being present feel it in their core. Multiple contacts. The sensor operator's voice cracked with fear. Devourer signatures detected in 27 systems. They're everywhere. Commander Reeves's expression remained steady as she accessed her neural link. Earth Fleet, this is command. Execute Protocol Thermopylae. Repeat, execute Protocol Thermopylae. The holographic display erupted with activity as human ships began moving with practiced precision. Defensive formations emerged from seemingly random patrol patterns. Supply lines were established. Evacuation corridors secured. Protocol Thermopylae, asked a delegate from the upper rings. Named after an ancient Earth battle, Chen explained, watching the human fleet deploy. Where a small force held off a vast army by controlling the battlefield's geometry. Commander, would you explain the concept of force multiplication to our allies? But before Reeves could respond, a new signal cut through the chamber's communications. The message was brief, sent from Earth's furthest patrol ship moments before it engaged the enemy. First contact established. Quantum disruption weapons effective. The Devourers can be hurt. Repeat, they can be hurt. But we need. The signal ended in static. On the tactical display, one of the green dots winked out. The council chamber erupted in panic, but Commander Reeves's voice cut through the chaos. That ship just proved these entities can be fought. Its sacrifice wasn't in vain, we now know our weapons work. But we'll need help. She turned to face the council directly. Humanity can't fight this alone. We have the weapons, the tactics, the training. But we need your resources, your technology, your support. Will you stand with us? The council speaker's membranes shifted through a rainbow of colors before settling on a deep, determined gold. Tell us what you need, Commander. The galaxy will learn to fight again. In that moment, as ancient horror met modern necessity, humanity's paranoid military preparation began to look a lot like foresight. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber had transformed. Where once delegates sat in ascending rings debating philosophy and trade, now stood a combined military command center. Holographic displays showed tactical maps, ship movements, and threat assessments. At its center, Commander Reeves stood before a group of alien representatives, teaching concepts their species had abandoned millennia ago. The key to defensive warfare, she explained, manipulating the tactical display, is understanding that you cannot be strong everywhere. You must be strongest where the enemy is most likely to strike. The crystalline delegate from the harmonious confluence raised an appendage. But how can we know where they will attack? The Devourers appear randomly. Ambassador Chen, watching from nearby, noticed how Reeves's expression softened slightly, the same look she'd seen on experienced teachers working with eager students. Nothing is truly random, Reeves replied. Look at the pattern of their attacks. She highlighted several points on the galactic map. They target high-energy installations first. Research stations, power facilities, dense population centers. By analyzing their behavior, we can predict their priorities. The chief scientist's helper, now designated as military science liaison, vibrated with sudden understanding. Like predicting stellar phenomena. We already have the mathematical models, we just need to adjust the variables. Exactly, Reeves smiled. Your people's scientific expertise combined with our military experience gives us an advantage the Devourers won't expect. A sudden alert drew their attention. The tactical display zoomed in on a distant sector where a Devourer entity had just emerged near a civilian transport hub. But this time, something was different. Look! Chen pointed at the display. The civilian ships, they're executing the evacuation pattern we taught them. Indeed, the alien vessels moved with newfound purpose, forming the protective formations human military advisors had drilled into their crews. As they watched, the civilians successfully escaped the Devourer's reach, buying time for a human destroyer to arrive and engage the threat. The council speaker's membranes rippled with cautious hope. Your defensive strategies, they're working. But the cost? They gestured to another display showing the casualties so far. Dozens of human ships lost, hundreds of crew sacrificed to buy time for civilian evacuations or to test enemy weaknesses. Every loss hurts, Reeves acknowledged, her voice heavy with the command burden every human officer knew well. But each sacrifice teaches us something new. Look here. She brought up analysis of the latest engagements. We've identified 7 distinct Devourer behavioral patterns. Their weapons have specific energy signatures we can track. Their feeding process requires them to remain stationary for exactly 47 minutes. This is intelligence paid for in blood, but it will help us save lives. A new alert caught their attention, this one from Earth's quantum labs. The chief scientist rushed to examine the data, their tentacles writhing with excitement. Commander. We've successfully integrated human quantum disruption technology with our energy-focusing arrays. The prototype weapon is ready for testing. Reeves studied the specifications, her eyes widening slightly. This is remarkable. The power output is beyond anything we could achieve alone. We may be new to warfare, the chief scientist said proudly, but we are quick learners. And we have excellent teachers. The moment of triumph was interrupted by a priority signal from the front lines. A human captain's face appeared on the main display, her expression grim. Command, we've discovered something in the Devourer's communication patterns. They're not just attacking randomly, they're searching for something. Something specific. And based on the decay rate of their quantum signatures, they've been searching for over 1 million years. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Commander Reeves and Ambassador Chen shared a knowing look. Whatever the Devourers were hunting, it had to be powerful enough to sustain their interest across eons. Well, Chen said quietly, now we know why they never gave up. The question is, what are they looking for? The answer came from an unexpected source. Deep in the Council's archived data, a pattern emerged that would change everything they thought they knew about the war, and about humanity's role in it. It was never about territory. The chief scientist's words echoed through the command center as ancient data scrolled across the main display. The Devourers aren't invading, they're hunting. And what they're hunting for? Their tentacles trembled. It's here. On Earth. Commander Reeves studied the decoded First-Era records, her face illuminated by streams of alien text. According to this, the First Galactic Era ended when the Devourers came searching for something called the Crucible of Dreams. The records say it was hidden on a primitive world, one that had yet to achieve spaceflight. A world, Ambassador Chen added quietly, that was experiencing an ice age at the time. Just like Earth was, during the period these records describe. The council speaker's membranes shifted to a deep purple of revelation. Your species' constant preparation for war, it wasn't just cultural trauma from your history, was it? It was genetic memory. Chen nodded slowly. We've always wondered why humans seemed so ready for conflict. Why we never fully embraced peace like other species. Now we know, Our ancestors were tasked with protecting something so powerful that an entire civilization sacrificed itself to hide it. The tactical display suddenly flared with new alerts. The military science liaison's crystalline form vibrated with urgency. Multiple Devourer signatures detected. They're all changing course. Every single one of them is heading toward Earth. They must have detected our access of the ancient records, Reeves said grimly. We just confirmed what they've suspected for 1,000,000 years. The council chamber erupted in activity. The combined human-alien fleet, now trained in Earth's military doctrine, began executing defensive maneuvers. But the scale of the threat was unprecedented. Look at their numbers, whispered a delegate from the upper rings. They're calling in every unit from across the galaxy. This is their endgame. Commander Reeves activated the fleet-wide communication channel. Her voice carried the weight of both authority and urgency. All ships, this is command. Execute Protocol Avalon. I repeat, execute Protocol Avalon. Protocol Avalon? The council speaker's translator struggled with the reference. Named after an ancient Earth legend, Chen explained, watching as human and alien ships began moving in perfect coordination. A hidden place of power, protected until the moment of greatest need. The tactical display showed the combined fleet forming layers of defense around Earth. Ships crewed by former pacifists now moved with military precision, their maneuvers guided by human training and their own rapid adaptation. Commander, the chief scientist called out, the quantum scans are complete. We've located the Crucible's energy signature. It's not just on Earth. It's in every living human. Small fragments, spread across billions of hosts. Reeves's eyes widened with understanding. That's why we never found it. That's why we've always been different. We're not just protecting the Crucible. We are the Crucible, Chen finished. Our ancestors didn't just hide it, they became it. Every human carries a piece of what the Devourers want. Our creativity, our dreams, our endless drive to prepare and survive, it's all connected. A new alert sounded, different from any they'd heard before. On the main display, the approaching Devourer fleet began to shift and combine. Individual units merged into massive structures, forming something that defied comprehension. By all the stars, the military science liaison whispered. They're building something. A superweapon. Commander Reeves's face hardened with determination. Then we'll need one of our own. She turned to the assembled aliens, former pacifists who had become warriors under human guidance. The Crucible of Dreams was hidden in humanity for a reason. Now it's time to show the Devourers exactly what dreams can do when they're backed by the combined knowledge of two eras of galactic civilization. As if in response to her words, every human in the fleet felt something stir within them, an ancient power, waiting to be awakened. The true test of humanity's preparation, and the galaxy's newfound unity, was about to begin. The combined fleet hung in space around Earth like a web of stars, each ship a strand in humanity's final defense. On the command center's main display, the Devourer superweapon took its final form, a massive structure that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Energy readings are off the scale, reported the military science liaison, their crystalline form pulsing with worried light. They've combined the mass of over 1,000 units into that thing. Commander Reeves studied the tactical display with the steady gaze of someone who had spent a lifetime preparing for moments like this. Status of the Crucible interface? The chief scientist's tentacles danced over control surfaces as they monitored the experimental system they'd built. The neural network is online. Every human in the fleet is connected. But Commander, we still don't know exactly what will happen when we activate it. Sometimes, Ambassador Chen said softly, the greatest acts of courage are stepping into the unknown. She turned to address the council speaker. Your people learned war from us. Now we need to learn something from you, the power of unity. The speaker's membranes shifted to a color none of the humans had seen before, a deep, resonant gold that seemed to carry its own light. We stand with Earth. All of us. Across the fleet, alien crews who had never known conflict until months ago moved with practiced precision, their ships forming the defensive patterns they'd learned from human instructors. But now they added their own innovations, crystalline energy focuses, quantum field manipulators, technologies that had once served peace now turned to preservation. The Devourer superweapon fired its first shot. Space itself seemed to scream as reality tore open between the fleets. 3 human destroyers and their alien escort ships vanished instantly, their quantum signatures erased from existence. All ships, hold formation. Reeves commanded, her voice steady despite the loss. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. The combined fleet responded with a coordinated barrage of quantum disruption beams, each enhanced by alien focusing technology. The attack struck the Devourer weapon's outer shell, and for a moment, hope surged, until the entity simply absorbed the energy, growing stronger. It's not just weapons, the chief scientist realized, tentacles writhing in agitation. It's a feeding system. Everything we throw at it makes it stronger. Another shot from the superweapon erased 2 defensive lines. On Earth below, billions of humans looked up at their darkening sky, each feeling the strange stirring of the crucible fragments within them. No more tests, Reeves declared. Activate the crucible interface. Full power. The chief scientist hesitated. Commander, the simulation showed that linking all human minds through the crucible could have unpredictable effects. The power surge alone could kill us all? Chen finished. Look around. We're already facing that outcome. At least this way, we choose it. Reeves nodded. Send the signal. Across the fleet, in every human ship, crew members suddenly gasped as the crucible fragments within them awakened. The neural network lit up like a new constellation, connecting not just minds, but dreams. Generations of human imagination, creativity, and determination flowed together, guided by the ancient power hidden in their very beings. And something impossible happened. The tactical display exploded with new signatures as ships began appearing from nowhere, vessels that existed only in the dreams and designs of human engineers, now made real by the crucible's power. Experimental weapons that had never left the drawing board materialized in gunners' hands. Theoretical defensive systems sprang into existence around vulnerable ships. The crucible, the chief scientist whispered in awe. It doesn't just store power. It turns dreams into reality. But the Devourers had not waited 1,000,000 years to be denied. Their superweapon turned its full attention to Earth itself, preparing to fire a shot that would end humanity once and for all. The chamber's sensors screamed warnings as the weapon's power reached critical levels. In that moment, Commander Reeves felt the crucible's power surge through her, connecting her to every human in the fleet. And in their combined consciousness, she saw the solution, one born from humanity's greatest strength. All ships, she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of billions of dreams, execute final protocol, Phoenix Rising. The true power of humanity's gift was about to be revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. Protocol Phoenix Rising wasn't a military strategy at all. As Commander Reeves gave the order, Ambassador Chen finally understood why humans had been chosen to guard the crucible of dreams. It wasn't their capacity for war, it was their ability to imagine peace even in the darkest moments. Through the neural network, every human in the fleet shared the same revelation. Their minds, linked by the crucible's power, didn't turn to weapons or defenses. Instead, they dreamed of connection. Don't fight the Devourers, Chen broadcast across the fleet. Understand them. The crucible's power surged through the human collective consciousness, and with it came insight. The Devourers weren't just hunters, they were what remained of the first galactic era's attempt to transcend mortality. They had succeeded, but at the cost of their ability to dream new dreams. They had become eternal, but empty. What they hunted wasn't a weapon. It was the ability to imagine again. As the Devourer superweapon prepared to fire, humanity reached out not with defiance, but with an offer. Through the Crucible's power, they showed the ancient beings what they had lost: the joy of uncertainty, the thrill of discovery, the precious nature of life itself because it was finite. The superweapon froze mid-firing sequence. They're responding. The chief scientist's tentacles whirled in excitement. The Devourer Collective is changing. On the tactical display, the massive structure began to shift. But instead of attacking, it was transforming. The impossible geometry softened, becoming something new, something that could dream again. Commander Reeves watched in wonder as the Crucible's power flowed not just through humanity, but through their alien allies and into the Devourers themselves. They never needed to take the Crucible by force. They just needed to remember how to share dreams. The Council speaker's membranes rippled with colors that had no name in any human language. Your species, you weren't preparing for war all this time. You were preparing to teach us all how to believe in something better, even in the face of annihilation. The best defense, Chen said softly, isn't a weapon. It's understanding. We kept our military not because we loved war, but because we knew that sometimes you have to be strong enough to offer peace to your enemies. Across the galaxy, the remaining Devourer units went dormant, their ancient hunger satisfied not by conquest, but by connection. The combined fleet hung in space around Earth, human and alien crews watching in awe as a new era began. 1 year later, the Galactic Council chamber had changed again. Where once there had been rings of seats arranged by species, now representatives of all civilizations, including the reformed Devourers, sat together. The old mockery was gone, replaced by a deep appreciation for each culture's unique strengths. Ambassador Chen stood at the podium where her journey had begun, addressing the new council. We've learned much from each other. The aliens taught us that peace is possible. We taught them that being prepared for darkness doesn't mean you love the light any less. And the Devourers taught us that it's never too late to change, to dream new dreams. Commander Reeves, now head of the Combined Galactic Defense Force, added, the universe is vast and full of unknowns. We'll face new challenges, new threats. But we'll face them together, with wisdom born from understanding. The council speaker's membranes shifted to that same, deep gold. And we will remember the lesson humanity taught us: true strength lies not in avoiding conflict, but in being prepared enough to choose peace. In maintaining our vigilance while never losing our capacity to dream. Above Earth, a new generation of ships patrolled, vessels created by human dreams, enhanced by alien technology, and powered by the shared hope of 3 ages of galactic civilization. They were ready for anything the universe might bring, not because they sought war, but because they were prepared enough to always choose a better way. The old council had mocked human fear of war. The new council understood that it had never been fear at all, it had been wisdom, waiting for the right moment to teach its lesson to the stars.